Okay, everybody, good morning. Welcome back to my channel, Every Man Has a Story. By popular demand, I've got Dan and Dennis with me again. I've had many suggestions from people who've watched both of their videos. So why don't you get the two of them together? I'd love to hear what a conversation would be like between the two of them. And so I talked to them, and what a lot of you don't realize is that Dan and Dennis are friends. They've known each other for a long time, and they've had many discussions. So we're going to be kind of like a fly on the wall and have a freewheeling discussion about whatever they want to talk about. I'll throw in some questions there. And in the comments section below, if there's something that you would like to have them discuss that we don't touch on, let me know and we'll talk to them again. Maybe we'll come back and do another video with your ideas. So with that, thanks a lot. And here's Dan and Dennis.
All right. Thanks, Mark. We're ready. So if you want to start off with a little something and
tell us a little bit about your feeling about knowledge and understanding the world we live in, and how you personally, each of you, have throughout your life coped with navigating through life. You know, do you do it just through logic? Do you do it through intuition? Do you do it through, reading and research? Or how do you, as both gentlemen about the same age, how have you navigated through life, and how is your navigation, captaining your own existence, how has it gotten
I would say yes to all of those.
Better or worse as you've gone along?
They're all useful in the right moment. That logic will help you when you need it. It's hard to be an engineer without good logic. But that intuitive part is somehow become stronger in me. I studied science, and I was very scientific when I was young, and I don't know what happened, but I just somehow just allowed life to move through me, followed my dreams, my excitement, and things happened easier. And the more I listened to that quiet little inner voice, sometimes I would see, not as often. Sometimes I would hear, not as often. All the time I would feel down here in my gut. And I just got so good at that. And traveling was my greatest teacher, because I'm in the unknown, have no idea what's going on. I don't know anything what to do, and I have to listen from there.
That's true. Yeah.
So that's how I've learned to live, and I've learned to ask questions without being upset or feeling like I have to remember this, I have to carry it, it's a burden. I just put it in this big file that says I don't know. So it's easy for me. I can gather massive amounts of information, and I just let it in because it's not personal. I have nothing to prove. I don't have to do anything except let it in, and then little pieces of the puzzle will come out, and at some point you go, oh wow, that's interesting. And that's how I do it.
Yeah, and it's more interesting to be like in the moment. We talked about flow a little bit sometimes. And just, well, one of the things that I think is important is to look at whatever we think shackles us. Being in debt is a good example, right? A lot of people now, Western people in particular, I suppose, or maybe it's many everywhere, owe somebody some money, or they have whatever, that program. And I've noticed that when I got debt-free, and that was a long time ago, that a lot of things opened up. There was a lot. It was a lot easier to travel and to not worry about the next thing that was supposed to happen.
Absolutely agreed.
I think finding a work, a job, JOB, which stands for joy of being, rather than work. Yeah, I think that's important.
Well, that's just because of the way you've always lived. But you did something creative to help, so that also was more fun.
Well, it makes. I've had some. I don't know, Mark, if I ever shared that really shitty job I had working for the sewers in the city of Paris, California.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, well, you can go back and look at that.
Yeah.
And in that experience, I don't know if we ever talked about that with you. That was like a real. That was a real changer for me, because I could either stay there and just do the job in a real menial way and suffer through it, But what happened is that the choice was to not do it that way, was to make my own tools, do things differently. And out of that, I wound up going back to into school, became an engineer, and my whole life's changed as a result of traveling, which is part of that package. So one of the 4 agreements, Manuel Ruiz says, is to do your best in every situation, and then you won't feel bad, like, oh, I didn't, and speak with integrity, and don't take things personally, and never make assumptions. Those are the 4 agreements. I think those are pretty fundamental too.
Absolutely. And the hardest thing in the world is self-honesty.
Ooh,
The hardest
now
thing
we're
for
talking.
everybody.
Great subject.
Yeah.
Put a little icing on the cake there, Dan.
Well,
Self-honesty.
we all know what that means, and we all have a shadow side because we all grew up dysfunctionally in some way, no matter how much our parents loved us and whatever they did. It was a hard childhood, and some were really so hard I don't know how they ever got through it.
Right.
Especially
And
here
so-
in the Philippines, the way people grow up.
Yes, I always thought that kids grew up loved because the people were so kind, but they have their own tough growing up experiences for sure.
Mark, do you mean something particular in that?
Yeah, I know my girlfriend, for example, had days when they had no food at all. None. For 2 days going to school with no food, coming home from school and having no clothes to wear. She had to wear her father's shorts. So
That's poor.
that's poor.
Sure.
So
Sure.
that's not uncommon here.
Wow.
Sure. Fishermen's daughters and kids have cried to go to bed at night because there's bad weather, you can't fish, there's no fish to sell, there's no money to eat. So that's true. So,
Wow.
Whatever
there's
problems you have, there's somebody who's got it much, much worse than you, and that's one thing you have to always remember, to not feel sorry for yourself.
That's the beauty of living in a country like this. If you ever think that I'm a victim, poor me, why is this happening to me? All you have to do is just pay a little attention when you go out. And then you realize, oh,
Yeah.
I guess things are not that bad.
That's so true. When I get out on the street and just drive anywhere, just not even that, just get out of the house, out of that, box in my psyche. Yeah, pretty clear, pretty quick.
So with 50% of the personality of the child formed inside the mother, and the next 6 years is pretty much everything else.
Yeah.
So if it's a hard time, that sticks with us the rest of our life. And it's so deep with some that they never have a chance to look at it or even try to get through it. And that's why, as a human race, we are the way we are. Because if you look at the cultures of the world, a lot of traditional cultures have so many rules about what you can and can't do. And they might be beautiful, simple people, but boy, is it hard when everything you're taught says this is how you live, you do not change.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had it. You were an only child,
Yes.
and I was the oldest. So we both got that mother's attention. So yeah, we're blessed.
Yeah, very blessed from both of my parents for sure. That gave me the strength to learn how to trust myself, because
Right.
you remember the Dr. Lady's video that you watched, and if you don't get that love when you're really young
Right.
and feel safe,
Right.
you cannot share that love with other people in your life.
I'd like to add to that. One of the things that she says, I can't remember her name exactly, but she says that what we really want and what we look for outside of ourselves is to be seen.
Yes, absolutely.
So what about problem solving? Like, when you have challenges in your life, as you're going through life and big challenges, big problems happen. How do you gentlemen deal with that? How have you learned to deal with adversity in your life over the years?
Go ahead.
Okay, so one of the things I try to remember now is that what appears to be an adverse situation is sometimes, maybe more than sometimes, the gift that is needed to to allow the most beautiful, the more and most, whatever, beautiful thing to happen. I mean, I can give you examples. And Mark was giving the thumbs up on that, you know, and it's really true. I mean, so what I'm asking the audience to do is to recognize this, this idea of even the good and bad idea, you know, is kind of interesting. That's sort of a philosophical tangent. The experience of something really horrible happening, and we've all had it happen. I mean, there's 2 fingers that are missing, right? Part of, and you know, that was pretty rough. I mean, I was like 9 years old when that happened.
Wow.
Somebody was asking, how'd that happen? Well, I tell people it was a rescue attempt on K2 or a shark attack.
Wow.
People buy that. I also tell them that I'm Nicolas Cage's brother, and they buy that sometimes. But I was like 9 years old. It was a farm accident. And for years, I was so like feeling like the girls won't like me. I had to like hide my hand under the desk or whatever. It was really traumatic. That whole psychological thing. Now it's, I mean, I've kind of experienced that pain, so I can relate to other people. But to be to the point, I try to remember that whatever looks like it's a really rough show is, it's a rough show. And that it's a part of a process. Oh, fundamentally though, I try and really remember and remind myself that life loves us. So there's that choice to see life as supporting us and working toward our best, our bringing out the best in our experience in our life and whatever this really is. And the other view is that, oh, you know, I'm a victim, like Dan was saying earlier, and it's, those are choices, actually. I think we can foster the view of life being supportive to us and or not. And so if it is a choice, if we actually do have a choice in the world, I think that's a really fundamental one to examine and to make a good choice about.
How about free will? Do you believe we actually have free will, or do you think free will doesn't exist?
Forrest Gump addressed that, right? At the end of the movie. Remember that? With the feather? At the end of the Forrest Gump. Remember? He said, you know, Mama said, you know, is it, same question, right? And he said, you know, I think it's both. And that's my answer. I think it's destiny and we have no choice.
That's a deep rabbit hole. That's
It
not
is,
a simple
it is.
question.
I think I kind of agree with that.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, sorry, go on.
if you want to go into the understanding of the both, the conscious mind is filled with likes and dislikes because every experience we have goes through there first. And immediately it looks into the past. And the past is either painful, no way I'm going there, I'm running away, no. Or it's pleasurable. I like that, I remember, that's what I want, I'm okay.
Right.
So it seems so simple. We do have a lot of freedom with a lot of little choices, but when it comes to playing our part, the soul that lives through us is my personal total experience. This part will follow through to meet people, to be in situations, to learn, to finish up whatever we brought with us from one life to the next that we struggled with. And it usually comes down to 2 dynamics. It's called I'm the victim or I will be the bully, one or the other. Oh. And it's only when we really come down to earth and become simple and love ourselves and open our heart, follow all those 4 agreements and are honest with ourselves, then we can just be simply human. We can handle everything. We can enjoy life. We can move with the flow. But it takes observing that conscious mind that thinks it knows and makes the decisions based on information that is insufficient, or this other part that is this small voice that everybody says, how do I do it? How do you find it? And that's the game of life. How to find the ability in your own body and your own way to listen to that part, because that part is always living through us. That's what keeps us alive. What happens if you ever kill an animal? The life just goes. Where did it go? Where did it go? And when a baby is born, there's a body, and all of a sudden. So that life force is everything. That is the spiritual search, understanding the mind, the body, the spirit, the emotions, how we play our part, how we live in this body safely, easily, and how we can enjoy our life and have it work and not fight all the time, because pushing up the river is just no fun. And we will suffer until we learn that's no fun.
Well, I think sometimes that when bad things happen to you, at least in my experience, bad things happen to you, you're going the wrong way. You're walking down the wrong path, following the wrong road.
Oh.
And when you finally decide to stop trying to go that way and you decide to go someplace else, anyway else, change your direction. Like for me, when I turned around and just left America and came to the Philippines, knowing nothing about this place, everything turned around 100%. And I think sometimes that's the way it is. When things are going wrong, you're making the wrong decisions one after another. So things get worse and worse and worse because you're going the wrong way.
Wow.
But also there's going to come a time in all of our lives when the end is here. The end is there's going to be bad news one day, and your life is going to be over.
Right.
And
Yeah, so what?
There's no, no changes you can make. No, nothing you can do but accept that, it's over. Life is over. The book is over. This is the last page, and that'll come one day, and we'll all accept it. So I want to transfer into.
Not everybody accepts it so easily, though.
That's true. They don't. So
Okay.
I
Transfer.
want you each to tell me the happiest day in your life so far.
Do we have time for this?
Sure we do. And the saddest day in your life so far.
How much time do we have?
Happy, sad. So who wants to do happy first? The happiest day you can remember in your whole life. Dan.
Well, the happiest day in my life is when I met my spiritual teacher in India that I knew nothing about, and I sat in front of him and I looked into his eyes, and whatever you call this person with my name disappeared, and this ocean and sky opened up of infinite space with pure love.
What was his name again?
That was Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh, later known as Osho.
How do you spell that?
O-S-H-O. He's all over YouTube.
Okay, good.
So that was the happiest day, because that brought me back 100% to the truth of who I am without wondering. It's very clear.
Okay.
Aww. Some of the saddest were...
We're doing happy first.
Okay, good.
Thanks. Well, Mark, that's a tough one for me, actually.
There's so many, huh? So many happy.
Well, maybe the most meaningful, the happiest day was when I had that dream about the old woman who came to me and said, "This is your day."
Wow.
And we haven't done that yet.
No.
Right.
Told that on
I haven't, and it takes a little bit of time, but it's so profound.
Just tell the dream what it was, and
Not the background, right? Right. The dream was about this old woman came to. Well, it was a day that I was having a meeting about standing up for a position that I had at work. That a lot of money was being spent. I thought it was wrong, so I wrote a report. Here's the day we're going to have this big meeting. This old woman comes to me in my dream, and she says, "Hey, Dennis, I have this gift for you. You can live any day of your life twice. You can pick it any time you want." I said, "You mean like I can be on my deathbed someday and pick any day and live it again?" She goes, "Yep, that's it." I go, "Wow, okay." I said, "How much does it cost?" She goes, "It's a gift." I said, "Okay, I'll take it." She takes her finger, she gets up in my face, and she shoves her finger into my chest. I mean, like into my chest, hard, and it hurt a lot. And she looks at me and she says, "This is your day." And then she pulls her finger out. And then I'm like bewildered, like what's she talking about? That's not what she offered me. She didn't, She said I could choose the day. And as she faded into the, background, I asked myself, why is any one day so important? And I looked and I saw that I didn't have very many days that I would want to live twice, because they weren't so special. And then it was like kind of tragic, because I think everybody should have a lot of really special days that they should really relish and have great memories about. And it impacted me that I had so few that I started crying in my dream. And it woke me up. And then I thought about the dream I just had, and I looked again, and I saw that it was really true, that I'd had, you know, a normal life, but nothing that deserved writing home about, so to speak. And then I started crying again a lot. And my girlfriend said, "What's going on?" I told her. I went to work that day, had the meeting, and from that point on, there was a split. And I wound out of that split, I became a whistleblower. And out of that split, I wound up traveling for 3 months, paid vacation. I had that much time built up. And like Dan said, that experience of traveling and being the child, being the what's happening here, and being, you're forced into curiosity. That's what happened. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, you're surviving. The point to that whole amazing experience is that she was correct. That was my day. And that's the day I would pick again. So it was a hard day, it was difficult, but that's okay.
Isn't it interesting that both of you, you're two friends I know, but both of you picked something from your past that was a spiritual awakening in a different way.
Right.
And not like, oh, I won the lottery, I met my girlfriend, my
Point.
son was born, whatever. It was a spiritual awakening. I find that very interesting. Very interesting indeed.
Well, you find it interesting because?
Because there's some resonance in yourself with that, because everything is internal.
Yeah.
External, happiness comes and goes. I'm happy, I'm sad. I like this, I want a new one.
It's his experience also.
I had a dream very similar to what you had, Dennis, but I'm going to tell it in another video.
I'm looking forward.
Yeah.
And maybe you tell us a little bit after the video today.
Yeah, okay, so...
sad?
Sad.
Oh, that's,
well, I won't make the sad very long.
Good, me too.
But if I tune into the deepest sadness that I ever felt, it's when I'm married and previously, and my wife said, "I'm taking your kids, we're leaving, you'll never see them again." And and that was really hard.
Yep.
And so I had to feel all those emotions of losing a family and kids, which didn't happen that way, but I had to go be absolutely honest. And those emotions are very deep. Mm-hmm. And so, anyway, I learned so much from that wonderful teacher of mine, because I learned how to deal with emotions at a level that I never thought possible. So I learned EFT, which is tapping on acupuncture points. You can find them on YouTube. Basically, you don't have to do anything they tell you except tap the points, feel the emotion as a friend and let it in, and accept it with love. And it's a wordless statement, and they will literally disappear, and the mind goes, what happened? So emotions are like thoughts. They pass through us. And when you learn in tough times that everything is a gift, so when times are tough, you ask, what is my lesson? What part do I play? What do I have to learn? What's my greatest lesson in all of this that I keep repeating? Because this is just no fun anymore. All right.
Good, very good.
Yeah, for me it was when I went, it's the day that the sheriff showed up at my work at Paris and said, you're not going home tonight. Here's the papers your wife has filed, says that you have a stay-away order and she's divorcing you. And I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
She found somebody else, more money or whatever. And combination, right? It's always a combination of things.
Yeah.
And I had a 6-year-old daughter at that time, so thanks for asking, but it hurts to remember.
Okay.
And I've gotten through those emotions to the point where I'm actually grateful for all of the difficulties that were presented in my life, because the truth is, I learned. And once I learned and got through it, I'm a new person. And so the new person is grateful
Nice.
when they learn from life. It's only the victim that suffers, that says, you did this to me and I can't be happy. And I will continue this because I'm powerless.
Let's, we're all, pretty much the same age here. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the death. Let's talk about, do you ever think about,
Good question.
how much time you have left, where you're going to be, like to say if you do get Alzheimer's or a disease, or if you just drop dead, or
Love it.
I mean, have you ever think about it?
Yeah.
I mean, I personally have, I've almost died twice, so I've kind of accepted that,
Cool.
it's just going to happen, and I'm not worried. I live every day by the day, live in the moment. But what are your thoughts on end of life, and have you made any kind of contingency plans? I know we're both in relationships here, and you have family back home and stuff, so any thoughts about that at all?
Okay,
ahead.
I'll jump. So for a long time, I've felt that I'm going to be, because I have genes that my grandparents lived a long time. My parents lived. So I've just had this feeling that I'm going to live healthy until 94, and
good.
then I'll pass away at 95.
Have you ever had any health issues like heart surgery?
Never.
You never smoked either, did you?
Correct.
Yeah, so you're in good shape.
I am. I don't know why I'm blessed this way. My brothers are mostly they're American, right? I mean, they've done the American diet thing.
You take blood pressure medicine?
I have low blood pressure.
Oh, wow.
In fact, I went to an Ayurvedic doctor, and he said, "You have a problem." I said, "What is it?" He says, "Well, you get faint. You're not strong." I said, "Ask my girlfriend if that's true." And she said, "No, he's good." And of course, he was selling, right? Right. Anyway, yeah, I'm feeling really blessed. So I get a PSA test every couple years, and my blood pressure's fine. I mean, I'm blessed, and I do think it's important to edge in on that philosophical. I think what you think about who you are and your health, I think that's a big part of what manifests.
Yeah.
End of life plans. If the COVID vaccine becomes mandatory in order to travel, I think I've accepted that I'll just stay right here on Negros. I don't need to go to. I've traveled 50 countries. I've seen a lot.
Yeah, same here.
A lot of memories.
Yeah, same here.
Good with that. If the fan gets dirty, you know what I'm trying to say, then I'll wind up planting rice. I won't have a financial income. I'll just, we're working on a farm up in Pamplona, Fatima area, and I'll just be doing that. So that's on the radar, is living up there, living with the local people, getting in better touch with nature every day.
And then, good.
All right, nice.
And you, sir?
Oh, I'm ready to step out of this body anytime I'm called back. So I have lived such a full, happy life and followed my dreams, and I'm still here. I'm grateful for every moment I'm alive. So, I just listen and deal with whatever happens. That's all I know how to do. I don't get ahead. I observe and make decisions when that intuition comes in that says now is the time to act. So I don't really have to know what will happen, because I will be told in some way exactly what to do. So all the pressure off of future, it's just gone. There isn't any.
Nice.
Very good.
I'm just so here. That's why it's hard for me to talk about my stories in the past, because it may be years before I tell anybody those stories, and it's not like I sit around and think about it and reminisce, and it's just like they're so far away, it's an effort to bring them back.
Oh, there we
Thanks a
go.
lot. That was a really interesting conversation. We touched on a lot of things, and appreciate your time, and I'm
All
sure we're going to get
right.
some questions from our subscribers asking for more and different topics, and we'll go into all that. So thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate it.
All right.